Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, April 6th, 2014. Kevin is a pathetic puppy dog when it comes to Chloe. He is hopelessly in love with her and I just don't think that she returns those feelings in the same way, and it's making him look really sad. It's funny because do you remember when Y&R was doing the whole Pretty in Pink theme with their relationship and Chloe declared happily that the original Pretty in Pink ending was wrong. Andy was supposed to end up with Ducky at the end, but apparently Ducky does not keep her fire lit because at the Underground this week, Chloe and Kevin are out. Chloe is looking gorgeous, beautiful pomegranate colors. She's in an awesome mood, looking good, feeling good, until Lauren mentions something about Chelsea's new designs. Chelsea has created a new set of designs that Chloe had no idea about. She's Chelsea's business partner. She had no idea that these designs even existed. Business is moving forward and Chloe is being completely left out of it. And Chloe's very upset. She wants to rush out right away, and she has this little moment with Lauren where she admits she would rather be working or pretty much doing anything else than being stuck at home alone with Kevin. And of course, Kevin walks up behind her and he hears this whole thing and she quickly takes it back, but it's clear that she feels indebted to him. It's not love, it's that she feels she owes him for helping to get her out of this situation where she could have gone to a mental institution after kidnapping Connor. It was Kevin who married her and saved her from that fate. It's weird because it kind of reminded me, a little bit later in the week, Victor stops by the police station just to kind of tell Paul and Kevin to keep Chloe away from Connor. And it really reminded me that Kevin marrying Chloe to save her from being in a mental institution is kind of close to what's going on with Nick and Sharon right now. And I'm not saying that Nick is saving Sharon at this point, but I mean, I just couldn't help but notice there's a theme here of men saving their women from going crazy or going to mental institutions. I just thought that that was sort of an interesting parallel. Like, it always seems like Y&R does two of the same storyline at the same time. Is it just me, or did anybody else notice that as well? Oh boy. Kevin is such a sad puppy dog. It is not going to work out well for him, especially knowing that Elizabeth Heinrichsen is leaving the show. Chloe is becoming just increasingly off of the wheels are coming off of the car. Is she going through treatment right now? She was supposed to be getting outpatient treatment, but it just seems like she's really not in touch with her feelings. She has another confrontation with Chelsea at the coffee house. Now that Chelsea has released these designs out in public or is moving forward on aspects of the business that Chloe's not involved in, Chloe's upset about it. She confronts Chelsea in public and Chelsea tries to wriggle her way out of it, but Chloe is really fierce on her, really angry, really blamey, saying, "You think I'm a psycho, but you haven't even stopped to consider for 1 minute that maybe I'm like this because your husband killed my daughter." I just don't think it's right for Chloe to put all of that guilt trip on to Chelsea. It's not like Chelsea knew what had happened with Adam and was covering it up for him. It's just not fair to throw all of that onto Chelsea constantly and be so vicious with her. At the same time, of course, I understand that Chloe is hurting too and she has a lot of anger that she doesn't know where to put, but I think Chelsea is not doing a great job of managing it either. I think Chelsea should either forgive Chloe and bring her back into the circle of the business, or she needs to just cut it off. Cut ties. She's working with Jabot. I'm sure that she would be able to work a deal with Jack or something to kindly and quietly cut ties with Chloe. No one would really blame her. It may be best for these two women to just go their separate ways, because at every chance she gets, Chloe is ready to pounce on Chelsea and just sink in the claws. And Chelsea is trying to defend herself. Chloe gets it in her mind that Victor is behind all of this, that Victor is the one that's telling Chelsea to keep Chloe away from her godson, which is funny because for once it sort of makes me agree with Victor. I mean, we know that Victor, he maybe has said that. I think he has said that, like, you should probably stay away from that psycho, but he's not pushing really hard for that, but that's what Chloe's perception of it is, and I don't think you could blame Victor or anybody else for accepting that advice. Sorry. I'm sorry. I love Chloe. I understand what she's been through, but I wouldn't want her around my kid after kidnapping the kid either. Oh, man. So, very interesting development. Victor's PI has pinged the cell phone that called Chelsea and has been making all of these hang-up phone calls. And it's been traced to, what do you know, New Orleans. Wonder who that could be. So Victor tells Chelsea this, it gets her hopes way, 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 way up. But later in the week, in fact, I guess it was at the very end of Friday's show, Victor calls Chelsea over to his office, telling her he has some news, sits her down, has this grave look on his face, saying that they found remains, I guess, like 2 counties down, I'm assuming like in the water or something, and that it's a body and that it is Adam. And immediately, I mean, before Victor can even get to saying what this evidence is or even talking about the remains of the body, Chelsea is like, it's not true, no, 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 and I don't want to hear it. She's pinning everything, every hope that she has on the fact that her husband is still alive, and Victor has to tell her, no, there are actually dental records that matched Adam. He is dead. Your husband, my son, is dead. And it's such a sad, sad moment. And just when it's seeming that, oh man, I guess, well, this must be the end. Adam's dead. Just when it seems that's that, we see Victor's investigator accepting an envelope stuffed with cash from someone in a chair with his back to the camera. Clearly, Adam has paid off Victor's investigator to make sure that in everybody's mind, as much as I'm sure it hurts him to do this to Chelsea, that Adam Newman stays dead. But we know for sure now he's alive and he's in New Orleans. I have so much to say about Billy, Victoria, Stitch. Ooh, where we last left off, Victoria and Stitch were getting drunk at the bar, and I can't help finding it ironic how Victoria lifted Billy up drunk out of the gutter that fateful New Year's Eve night where their relationship really began to bloom and blossom, and now here Stitch is trying to lift a drunken Victoria up out of the gutter. They're both totally smashed, going out to the car where they need not be. They need not be anywhere near the car. Stitch actually has the presence of mind to try to take her keys, so they're fighting over the keys to the car. They end up in the back seat in a lip lock, and as if that wasn't shocking enough, it progressed into full-blown backseat sex. Woo! I don't know what to think about that, and I was not expecting it. I thought, oh, they're gonna kiss. That's kind of bad on them, but I mean, she slept with him. And she seems very, very fine with it. Victoria starts declaring right away she doesn't regret it. Really? Really, though? You don't regret it at all? I mean, at all? You don't regret that, Victoria? I don't buy it. She you know, Stitch right away is like, this isn't even a good idea, I shouldn't have done this. And Victoria is very quick to remind him that she's legally separated. And by the way, Anna had called into my voicemail and left me a message kind of giving me the scoop on what legal separation is and why to do it. Apparently you have to, in some states, get legally separated before you get divorced. We don't usually take that step in Y&R. That's why it's odd to me, because usually the characters just get divorced when it's time to get divorced. It was interesting that Victoria decided to take that step to actually go through with the legal separation. I don't know if that just means that Billy and Victoria at the end of the day are going to end up getting back together. The whole legal separation thing just sounds like a way to get more money for the lawyers to me, if you've got to go through two processes. But at the same time, in fact, the very same moment where Victoria and Stitch are sleeping together in the backseat of her SUV, Billy and Chelsea are becoming kind of chummy too. Are you guys picking up on that? Are you thinking that something is going to develop there, especially now that Chelsea is going to believe that her husband's dead and is probably going to finally allow herself to grieve and process and accept and go through all of that? I think that Chelsea has been very supportive of Billy. In fact, she's literally convincing Billy how much Victoria loves him, as we're seeing Victoria and Stitch having sex. It is shocking to me, but it's just not Victoria-like behavior. And maybe that's what she's trying to tap into. Maybe she's trying to get into touch with the side of herself that'll just throw caution to the wind and have sex with some guy in the back of her SUV. I mean, I know Stitch isn't like necessarily some guy. He's a doctor. He's apparently a reputable member of society, but somehow, somewhere, his deep, dark secret is going to come out, and that's totally going to probably crash everything around them. I mean, how many men can she need to have to forgive? It's weird. Stitch is like in love with her, it seems. Are you guys getting that vibe too? Stitch seems almost a little bit needy. He's really, really into Victoria, and at the end of the day, I don't know. I think she's gonna get back together with Billy. The whole affair, to me, smacks of rebound. That's what I feel, rebound. I believe Stitch is falling for Victoria, and I think Victoria is flattered and interested in Stitch, but I don't think she's falling in love with him. I think she's interested, but I think Stitch is just happy to have someone who doesn't look at him like a scumbag, because he's carrying around this deep, dark secret, and here Victoria is seeing him as a hero and maybe a savior in a way. So I think he's feeding off of that. But she is still in love with her husband. After this whole sex crash, bang, boom happened with Victoria and Stitch, he leaves, and she has this moment as presumably she's looking out the window, seeing Stitch leave, and she grabs for her wedding ring, and she tries to pull it off of her finger. She brings it just to the edge of her finger, but she can't do it. She can't remove her wedding rings. It's tattooed on, for crying out loud. You're never going to be able to remove that. You're going to have to go through some laser surgery to get that wedding band removed from your finger. But I think that's a very important moment. She's intrigued by Stitch, but she's not ready to say goodbye to her marriage. Net. That's it. That is the summary. Stitch is gonna set him up for everything he's going through now. It's just gonna be 10 times worse, I think, once it doesn't work out with Victoria. He comes back again the next day, feeling all guilty about the fact that they slept together, but totally liking it. They end up kissing at the front door. Stitch, Victoria kissing at the front door. It's wide open, and Nicky walks up behind them, shock face. What is happening here? I mean, Billy had already told her about the legal separation. She goes over to check on her daughter, and her daughter's locking lips with Ben. Nicky was not having it at all. Oh my God, Stitch like scurries off under Nicky's cold gaze. She was like, yeah, I think maybe it's a good idea if you leave. And oh my gosh, she goes to the coffee house And he ends up not being able to hide the truth from Dylan. Dylan kind of figures it out, and it's just written all over Stitch's face. Meanwhile, Nicky is interrogating Victoria, and Victoria just has to point out the fact that she caught Billy with Kelly again. That's what it all boils, that whole thing that happened with Stitch all boils down to the fact that she has been told by Billy time and time again that he's going to stay away from Kelly, and he never does. So Billy gets all suited up and he goes to Jack's office at Jabot and asks for a job. And I thought Billy looked really good. It was kind of nice to see him. I feel like we need to give Billy a different haircut because the military crew is not working for me. I think Billy, I think he's very attractive. I want to get into him even more, but at several points during the week, the military crew cut really, it's like hitting a brick wall with me. So let's do some maybe different hair and then we'll be good. He did look good in the suit though, and he's asking Jack for the job and saying, you know, he wants to spend less time at the restaurant. In fact, he has someone who might be interested in buying it. It's difficult for Billy to be there on the boulevard. He had a dream, which we saw as Delia was dying, that Delia would someday want to work with him. They called the restaurant like Daddy and Delia's or Delia and Daddy or something. So that's a dream that's never going to come to fruition for him. So he kind of is ready to move on from that. And plus, he wants to try to begin to be the man that Victoria deserves. He's tried so many times to be the man that Victoria deserves, and he never is ever quite ready to, or he never quite fits the bill. But I mean, Victoria does, I don't know, does she have high expectations? I would just don't cheat on me. Just don't cheat or get another woman pregnant and we'll be fine. He just can never seem to do that. But Billy kind of pushes Jack's buttons in the right way, talking about family and their father, and you know how sentimental old Jack is. So Jack hires him, and not only does he hire him, he gives Billy Phyllis's old job. Oh, he's been keeping Phyllis's job open for her. Oh, God. That's sad. But he gives Billy that job, and Billy's like, oh, I will relinquish that job when Phyllis comes back. Oh, it's just like walking on eggshells around Jack. Oh, man. Oh, okay, so Abby comes into the room after Billy's just been hired, and she spills it about seeing Victoria at the club with Stitch, drunk, and Billy is enraged immediately. He goes to the park, just, I guess, on a whim, where he goes to find Victoria, and he takes the long way home, ends up in the park, where absolutely everybody is all the time. Victoria's in the park with Stitch, and they're kind of like school kids who just had their first kiss. I mean, like, Victoria's cheeks looked all blushed, and the way Stitch is looking at her is very sweet, and it is very, it's innocent despite the fact that it is forbidden. Like, he's looking at her in just this, I like you sort of way. Do you like me? Check yes or no. I'm getting that whole vibe from Stitch. But of course, Billy shows up, and did you guys notice, like, how Victoria's face changed? Because she's in this interaction with Stitch and she's blinking, you know, she's got the eyes going and they're connecting, and then she turns around. Billy is like enraged at the fact that here he's finding them together when he's come to confront her about them being together. Stitch runs away. Victoria turns to talk to Billy and her whole face changed. She went from kind of sweet schoolgirl to cold Newman business face. Did you guys notice that? It's a difference in how she feels, but I think it was her putting on a mask or putting on her armor to deal with Billy. She's been hurt by him so many times, she doesn't want to open herself up to continually getting hurt by him. But Billy must just know. He must just know instinctively that something happened between them, because he asked, did you sleep with them? Did you guys sleep together? And I think next week she's going to tell him the truth, or at least she's not going to deny it, and he's going to pick up on it right away. So that's going to come out. Billy's gonna know Victoria slept with Stitch, and so now what? The playing field has been evened, so where do we go from here? Kelly is warming up to Jack. How could you not? He's trying his best. He's given his best Jack Abbott to her. And she comes to Jack to thank him for the white flag flower. And Jill overhears the whole thing. And naturally, Jill has to jump in and call Kelly every name in the book because she slept with her son. You're a homewrecker. You're a hussy. I mean, Jill, really. You're living in a glass house. You might want to keep some stones to yourself. I mean, Kelly, I can't help but feel a little bit bad for her. She's taking crap from everyone in town, but do you see people hounding Billy every chance they get? I mean, they're calling her a slut and a whore, but no, everybody's real forgiving of Billy because they just know him, and this definitely isn't the first time he's done something like this. So I feel bad for Kelly. She's getting labeled, and, you know, she made a mistake. Why is it all her fault? I guess that's what I'm saying. Why is it all Kelly's fault? Why can't they share some of the blame, she and Billy? I'm liking Kelly. I love that she doesn't take their crap. It's like everybody wants to come down on her, and she gives as good as she gets. She did, like, fling it back at Jill, and I really appreciated that. I like her. I am feeling Kelly. I am feeling the chemistry between she and Jack. I totally had a romantic dream about Jack last night. Like, I was romantically involved with Jack. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why, but I was like all smoochy smoochy on Jack. I don't know why. Just why not just will creep in. I watched it right before I went to bed, so that's exactly why. But it must have creeped into my psyche or something, because I was locking lips with Jack. He's not a bad catch. Yeah, I'd marry Jack. But I'm feeling him with Kelly. If he can't be with Phyllis, and again, just on a total sidetrack, wrap this Phyllis thing up, recast her, or kill her. Or something, but stop shoving it in my face every single week. If I can't have the character of Phyllis, then I need it to be out of my face. I appreciate maybe they're trying to not act like she never existed, or not make Jack look bad by not dragging it out, but recast her. Recast her. What they're gonna do, I'll tell you right now, is they're gonna build up the Jack and Kelly relationship, and then as soon as they're getting hot and heavy, they're gonna recast Phyllis, and she's gonna come out of her coma and come up in there, and then Jack's gonna be totally torn. And I love it. If that is indeed where they're going, I love it. Let's get there. The only thing that I'm a little bit sad about is the fact that they're recasting Kelly. I think I said from week one, I really like that actress. I think she's good. I think she's got something, there's some meat there. Like, I can sink my teeth into it. And I know that whoever it is that they recasted with is like some soap legend, but I don't know other soaps legends, so that means nothing to me. And if I did know them, I think it would work against me, like thinking like of who they are and thinking of them as the other character. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm sad that we're losing this actress, and I think in large part it's because I feel like Jack needs some stability here. I need some stability here. I gotta tell you, I laughed. I was very, very amused by Victor forcing this poor kid Reed to play chess. I mean, do you think Mac and JT are making Reed play chess at home? No, he's a little kid. He wants to go outside, he wants to play, or he wants to be inside playing his video games. Kids don't want to play chess, Victor, and I can appreciate you trying to introduce him to the finer things, but it was ridiculous. The kid was practically squirming around in his seat. It was cute because like Nicky's behind Reed trying to coach him as to what he should make the next move, and it's all in an effort to impress the great Victor Newman. He would be so hard to be around. I like him in the context of the show. I love my Victor Newman, but I would not want to hang around with him because he's overbearing. No fun, too. No fun whatsoever. I would have to get in there and lighten him up. So, Cain walks in on this rousing evening at the Newman Ranch, and he tells Victor that he feels someone has set him and Victor up for this whole Bonaventure thing. Someone set him up from the beginning, got Cain to look at the website that made him realize Bonaventure would be a good acquisition for Chancellor Industries. And I'm gonna tell you what I am wondering right now is, could it have been Jill? Because at the time when Catherine died and left Cain as the CEO of Chancellor, Jill was very upset. She was upset with Catherine. She was upset with Cain. Could she have been the one that set those wheels into motion? I can't think of anyone else unless it's Jack. I mean, she and Jack were talking at the time about how they were going to bring down Newman and get Chancellor back. So it's probably Jill and or Jack. Who else could it be? I think it's going to be good because ultimately it'll pit Cain against Jill, which, as much as I love their relationship, I kind of enjoy that little bit of a feud too, infused into the relationship. Victor was so impressed with Cain's business acumen that he offers him the position again of CEO of Chancellor. I don't know if Victor is necessarily setting Cain up. It may just be a bonus. I do think Victor is feeling kind of impressed with Cain and wants him to come work for him. Now, Cain was able to take a break from his busy schedule to christen Lily's new office. I thought it was pretty hot. I know a lot of people don't feel the chemistry with Lily and Cain, but I think a lot of people do. I thought it was hot. I like the way they are together. They even went for a round 2 a couple days later. It was like 2 sex scenes this week of Lily and Cain in the office. I think it was it the first one? Lily literally stood there behind the desk as Cain was walking in the door. She unzipped her dress and stood there with her top down with the door to her office wide open. Wide open. She is standing there in her bra. Anyone could have walked by. I couldn't believe how outrageous it was. I mean, I guess if your brother owns the joint, you can get away with whatever, but I wouldn't want to take the risk that any of the other employees, like some waiter comes up to the office and sees you in your bra and panties. Close the door. But Lily is trying to do her best to convince Cain to not take the job with Victor. She's trying to show him all of the perks that he has if he continues to work at the restaurant. I think working with Victor speaks for itself. Is there anyone who has ever not regretted working with Victor Newman? I mean, even his own kids, Nick, Victoria, Neil, Cain's father-in-law. I mean, any number of people would advise you against working with Victor. So you go ahead, Cain, you take the job at Newman, you work with Victor, but you might want to have Lily keep your seat warm because it ain't gonna last. Tyler gets down on one knee in the middle of a nightclub and proposes to Abby Newman. Well, that little trick of Mariah's certainly backfired on her. She created that whole tabloid story, I'm assuming thinking it was going to drive them apart, and instead now they're engaged. How do we feel about this, you guys? Because I'm just going to be completely honest. I don't love Abby and Tyler. I don't feel connected to either of those characters. Gary had called into my voicemail and had mentioned, and I completely agree, and in fact he used this word, saying that there's no stuffing in their relationship, and I think that's a good way of putting it. I don't think there's a whole lot of stuffing in either of those characters. It's just like two blank shells. I mean, I feel more for Tyler than I do for Abby. I I'm not trying to be mean, and I don't want to be. I mean, you guys know I've got a good heart here. I love Y&R. I'm not trying to trash it or trash any of the actors or anything, but this actress is not good. She just does not, I know some people are going to agree, but I kind of think maybe some people agree with me. I don't feel anything from her. There's nothing for me to sink my teeth into. I don't feel something deep behind the eyes. I think she's in the wrong profession, frankly. I mean, I'm not saying that whoever plays Abby has to play it like Marcy Rylan, but there's got to be something in between, because I just feel like she's a fembot. There's just nothing, there's no personality, even though they try. I mean, she's made me laugh a couple of times, but it's far more the result of the writing than it is the actress. Like, there's just nothing about her that makes me compelled, and frankly, anytime she's in a scene, I kind of zone out. I really am not talking this week about her going to Victoria, or she had a little confrontation with Jack. It's like, I just don't even want to give it my emotional energy. I want to be a good Y&R recapper, but it takes my emotional energy to put it out there, and I just don't have it for her or anything surrounding her. I wish they would just get rid of the character or recast it again. And so, because I don't feel particularly connected to her, I certainly don't feel connected to this relationship with Tyler. I do like Tyler a little more. He's not like some masterful actor. Let's be honest, he is a model. He's not doing a bad job. He's very, very hot, very beefcakey. I enjoy looking at him, but there's not a lot of dimension in there, and even though Y&R has spent some time trying to dig into his past, it just feels like as soon as he got involved with Abby, it all kind of got washed away for me. Abby just washes him out for me. I'm mildly entertained by Tyler's interactions with Victor, mostly because they're such an odd match and they haven't really had very many scenes together. I did appreciate that Tyler went to Victor to tell him the news. He wants to get Big V's blessing for the big wedding that's going to be occurring. The best part about that whole thing was Victor telling Tyler, or asking him, no, I'll do it in Victor's voice. Do you know what it means to become a part of the Newman family? As if Victor is now drawing Tyler into the Newman clan. He's now become a Newman. When you marry Abby, you will become a Newman. Is Tyler going to become Tyler Newman? Because the last time I checked, it meant that Abby is going to be marrying into the Michelson family, not the other way around. Like, he's a Newman now, and Victor wants to prep him for what that means to be a Newman. And in a lot of ways, I think Victor's resistance to this relationship had more to do with thinking maybe he's not Newman material. Doesn't matter what his relationship with Abby is, he's not Newman material. It was typical Victor, but I mean, Tyler did give an impassioned speech. I shouldn't lump Tyler in with Ashley because Ashley, gosh darn it, it's getting worse, you guys. I shouldn't lump Tyler in with Abby. I do think that he's alright. Tyler's alright. He doesn't make me wanna like, but he's not, I pay attention at least when he's on screen. He did give an impassioned speech about how he's proud of himself for where he is today and that he loves Abby and that should be enough. And Victor just looks at him. You think maybe he's gonna say no, but instead he just reaches out to shake Tyler's hand and says, you know, I want a long engagement. I want a long engagement. Like, this doesn't have anything to do with you, Victor. He's not marrying you. It came off like Tyler was having to propose marriage to Victor. Like, it's Abby's choice as to the length of the engagement. I mean, how nice of you to tell him, call me Victor. I mean, Tyler seemed happy with it for now, but in a month, trust me, Tyler, you're gonna be calling Victor a ruthless SOB because he's gonna be up in your marriage, up in your relationship, up in your life, way more than you appreciate. Neil and Hilary are back in town and they're BFFs. They're wearing matching sweatshirts. They've got little inside jokes now. They're close as close can be. And Devon seems a little suspicious. maybe a little jealous. Oh boy. Hilary is ripe for the picking. Someone's gonna get her. It was interesting this week because Lauren needed a dress, or she had a dress that she needed someone to model, and oh, Hilary just happened to be the only one there. So Hilary tries on this dress for the fashion show, and a couple other things happen. I guess I feel, in some ways I feel the same way about Summer as I do about Abby. Like, Neil got inspired through a conversation with Summer to go in a different direction with the fashion show, and in my mind I just glaze over it. There's just nothing hugely compelling about when Summer's on my screen either. But Neil comes back in and he says, oh, you know, this conversation with Summer and then seeing Hilary in this modeled dress makes him realize the angle for the fashion show is gonna be real people on the runway, which is like, no, I want to see some models on the runway. But you know there's going to be a moment where Neil and Devon are in the office, or sorry, gosh, in the audience. After a while, after like 45 minutes of talking straight, you can see the wheels start to come off of my car too. I don't know what I was talking about. But you know there's going to be a moment where Neil and Devon are sitting in the audience watching the fashion show, and Hilary's going to come strutting down the runway doing her thing, and both Neil and Devon's jaws are going to drop. Are we ended up in a father-son love triangle here? I guess this must be the part of my YNR chat where I kind of complain about things, because Courtney stops by Sharon's house where Noah is. She knocks on the door. She says something like, I don't know, open up, it's the cops, or something cliche cops, because, you know, now she's a cop, wink, wink. He opens up the door, and Courtney is there in her street beat cop uniform, full on, like, probably polyester pant. I believe it was like a blue shirt, black tie. I mean, she had the weapons belt. I don't know if she had I don't think she had a hat. Her hair was back in a tight pony. And I mean, Noah's going on and on about how he wishes she had a safer job, but he's kind of turned on by the fact that she's a cop and she carries a weapon. I don't buy her as a cop at all. I cannot take this seriously. I like Courtney. I mean, I genuinely do like Courtney, and I'm glad that YNR kept her on the show and that we're seeing a little more of her, because I was skeptical about her at first, but I like her. I think she's got a little something there, but it is ridiculous to think of her as a cop. If I never watched YNR and I tuned into the show just randomly one day and I saw this girl in this cop uniform, I would never buy it, and it would probably make me never watch YNR again, because I would say, wow, this show is ridiculous, because it is. It makes no sense. It does not carry. She's trying, and I'm not blaming the actress, I'm blaming YNR here. She's trying to pick up this whole cop beat, and she is not carrying. I'm sorry. I got a funny voicemail from Connor this week noticing the exact same thing. He says, she looks like she's 18 or 19 and is dressing up for a Halloween party. Ian is back! Yay! I like Ian. That's so weird, but it's not like I like who he is, but I enjoy that he's a good villain. I want this guy on the show all the time. He's in jail. He is in a little conference room, and since Leslie is representing him, she's there to meet with him and talk about his case, but really what she wanted to do was confront him about Willa's visit. She asks, you know, did you send your wife to Dylan to try to ask for money? And I initially, when Willa showed up, thought, no, she seems genuine, but now I kind of wonder if he did send her. I don't know if she was going to then try to turn around and somehow use that information against Dylan, that he paid her off, or if it was genuinely just about getting some money out of him. I'm not sure, but I kind of am wondering now. Ian is so calculating. It's possible he has people still doing his bidding. He was a cult leader, so I'm sure that he still is able to rope people in to do what he wants. Now, I can't even, I almost am not even I'm almost surprised that I'm mentioning this because it was so like, ugh, to me. I just feel bad, but okay, so Ian's gonna be on trial, right? And Summer is apparently going to be deposed to testify at his trial. For what? She knows nothing. She had nothing to do with what he ended up getting caught into jail for. Nothing. Nicky is the one who got extorted. It had nothing to do with Summer. All he did to Summer was try to bring her into the cult, which is nothing different than what a cult leader would normally do. He brought her in to take a test, and he took a photo of her. It was perfect, like it wasn't a naked photo. He did nothing to Summer. But yet Jack drives her up to the penitentiary to confront Ian, which I would never let my daughter do. I mean, if I was Jack, I would not encourage her to come face to face with this criminal again. But she sits there and confronts Ian, and she's newly empowered, and she's telling him, you know, you did this to me, and what you didn't count on is I'm stronger than you thought I was. I don't know. She goes on about how great she is. And how much better she is, and what a scumbag he is, with Jack sitting there in the room watching over her like a hawk. Who cares? I don't care at all. I brush that aside, because the better thing, the awesome thing is, when Ian is having his conference with Leslie, he mentions that he wants to strike a plea deal, and Leslie says, "What for what? What do you have to offer?" And he says, "I have information, and it's information that the district attorney is going to want to hear." Oh, she's going to be particularly interested in hearing this piece of evidence. So we know what it is. We've been speculating about it for weeks. Woohoo! I'm kind of gonna enjoy the fact that now that Summer has gone to Ian and has been all me, that Ian's gonna end up getting out of jail probably just as the truth is coming out about Dylan's real father, Police Chief Williams. Sharon is feeling remarkable. Feels better than she's ever felt in her life. No more hallucinations. She has a vague feeling that maybe she's not remembering something important. Something important. She asked her doctor about it, and does anybody else think this doctor is super creepy? Because every time Sharon tries to talk, first of all, it's creepy to me that the doctor recommended this whole electroshock therapy anyway. You know she's going to ultimately remember and be right back at square one. The doctor creeps me out. Sharon tries to ask her about, you know, what the memory loss and all that, and the doctor just sits there very coldly and very curtly, like she's Nurse Ratched or something. Does anybody else feel that way? Like I keep getting the feeling that the doctor has an ulterior motive or something. I just don't trust her. I'm glad that Sharon has Nick. I'm glad that he's recommitting himself to her. In fact, just before she leaves the hospital, they have this moment where he says that he loves her and he wants to stay with her. In fact, he wants to begin living at the house again, the house where they first lived in when they were married, where they raised their children. He wants to come back into the home to look after her as soon as she's released. He's totally committed to her. And she is a little bit hesitant. I think she wants to know that this is real because there have been so many other false alarms in the history of their relationship. She wants to feel like this is not just another rescue mission, that he's not just there to rescue her yet again. But I do think, as much as I am enjoying, make no mistake, this chic reunion, I do think it's odd how Nick is always most interested in her when she's in trouble. The only time that he wasn't interested in her when she was in trouble was when she got all tangled up with Adam, and then he kind of abandoned her. He wasn't a friend, that's for sure, and I'm not trying to justify everything that Sharon's ever done, but it was Adam that was there for Sharon when the chips were down at that point, and Nick kind of didn't start to come back around to her until Adam was out of the picture. So, I mean, I don't know. I think Nick is someone who is led by love. He is led by his emotions. He needs to be in a relationship with somebody. I don't mean to take away from the chic reunion that's happening right now. I'm just worried as both of them kind of acknowledge their love. I mean, it was nice. They basically said, I love you. I've always loved you. It was a beautiful moment. It just worries me that the truth is going to come out and ruin it. It really does. I mean, they're so beautiful. They seal the whole thing with a kiss. I mean, he's going to say that he's going to sleep on the couch so that Faith doesn't get her hopes up. But, I mean, he's back into the home now. They go home. Faith and Noah are throwing Sharon a welcome home party. Sharon comes back home, and Faith is all excited to see her mother. Faith is asking questions about where Mommy has been and if she was in the hospital, you know, did she hurt herself physically? And Sharon said something like, yeah, Mommy wasn't well on the inside. Oh, Lord. So at this welcome home party, Summer stops by, and Sharon, we start to realize, doesn't remember anything about Phyllis. Summer mentions the fact that her mom is in North Carolina or whatever, and Sharon's like, oh, what's she doing there, vacationing? Sharon doesn't even remember that Phyllis is in the coma, which shocked me because I, honest to God, almost forgot that Sharon was keeping that secret too. The secret about Summer's paternity is so huge that I forgot that Sharon was the one that, you know, I mean, she didn't push, but she was there when Phyllis had her accident, and she didn't tell anybody about it. I mean, Nick had to go through and explain to her everything about or about Phyllis's coma, about Summer's paternity. He had to talk to her about pretty much all of her dirty little secrets, or, you know, he doesn't know, but all of the things that were uncomfortable for her. How convenient is it that she forgot all of those uncomfortable truths? I like them together, but I worry how long it's going to last. It's almost like Y&R's giving us this beautiful little serene moment between Nick and Sharon, and it's going to blow up soon. Faux Cassie is back in town. She didn't leave the way Victor told her to, and there's a scene where Victor goes to see Nick at the underground, and Cassie is there. She's sitting. I don't know what her motive was. I don't know if she was just trying to listen in to see what information Nick might be able to provide about Sharon, because she seems to really care about Sharon. But Victor sees her from the back and confronts her in the nightclub, gives her the big kiss off, tells her to get out of town. As far as I'm concerned, you never existed. You can go ahead, Victor, and try to pretend that you didn't do what you did, that you had nothing to do with the fact that Sharon was seeing Ghost Cassie, but that's gonna end up coming out, and it's gonna add fuel to the fire, especially with your children. After all of the lying that you did, or the covering up, or the not revealing that you knew that Adam killed Delia, do you think that you are going to just escape unscathed when everyone finds out that you also hired a look-alike of your son's dead daughter? Avery is an internet star, and she made that recipe. It won the contest for that website. She made a video of her cooking that recipe, or making her pie or whatever, and she submitted it, and it's huge. She's a huge star. That video of Avery cooking happens to be bigger than any other video. It's gotten more views than any other video in that whole cooking website's history, the history of ever. Everybody wants to see that video of Avery cooking. I wonder why. Oh, Avery. Unfortunately, my girl, there's another little video. I mean, are you guys thinking that's what it is? It's basically like on the underground, everybody's watching that sexy video of her, and then they found out that she's doing this cooking, and so everybody wants to see that too. I mean, is that kind of what you guys are getting? Like, the video got out? I hope it did. I know this is horrible and I like Avery, but I would enjoy it. I just would. I would love to see Avery's face when she's just like, a sex video is out about me? Especially since we all know the actress has a lot of nudes out there. It definitely changes seeing her naked definitely changes the way I look at her on Y&R, especially since her Y&R character is so conservative, and then it's just like, Google image boobies. Oh man. I'm gonna enjoy it though. I love it. I hope that the sex tape gets out. I'm kind of wondering if maybe Avery needs to become friends with Lauren, because Lauren knows a little something about sex tapes too. Finn is back, and he's looking for colleges. He's on the straight and narrow now, and he has this beautiful moment where he's finally able to tell his father he wants to be a lawyer. He wants to follow in his footsteps, and Michael is so relieved. He's proud of his son, and he immediately has this vision of Baldwin and Baldwin. You know, they're gonna work together someday in the future. My son working right next to me. Oh, I'm so proud of him. And furthermore, ready to breathe a huge sigh of relief that he's done with the difficulty that Fenn's been going through recently. I'm glad that all of that's behind them. Fenn is on a straight and narrow path, but also just, I think Michael's feeling like in general, raised my kid, ready to move on to the next part of my life. He wants to find a partner for his law business and see what the future holds for him, for Michael. And right at the time that Michael's breathing this sigh of relief, Lauren starts acting all shifty. She realizes that her period is late, and she tells Michael that she thinks she might be pregnant. Okay. I'm totally not okay with this. I am not okay with this. I love Lauren, as you know. I love Michael. But this better be a false alarm is all I gotta say. Next week, they better come up with, oh, oops, I guess not pregnant. They went to go get a pregnancy test, so I'm assuming next week we're gonna find out the truth. But I'm really hoping to see a scene where it's like, oh, false alarm. Lauren is too old for this. I'm sorry. I am not trying to be a jerk, and I'm not trying to imply that women of a certain age shouldn't or couldn't have children. It's more for me the fact that women do not have to just keep having babies on soaps until they're dead. It annoys me that Y&R can only write currently like 2 types of storylines, either an affair or a pregnancy for women. And I'm annoyed. Lauren does not have to be a baby machine for the rest of the time that she's on the show. I mean, the woman is 50. My God, she looks amazing for 50. But come on, a baby? No. I mean, I know some people are okay with this. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'd rather see anything else. It's, again, it's not like a moral opposition or something. I just, like, where is the creativity, Y&R, in the storyline writing? Isn't there somewhere else that we can go? I mean, at 50 years old, for crying out loud, it's more likely to be menopause if she missed a period. It's uncreative writing, I think. I mean, I'm not trying to be a critic. It's just like, can't there be somewhere else that she can go? Can't she have some other sort of self-discovery? Furthermore, it concerns me about where Y&R might be going with this, because I swear, if she does end up pregnant, it better not be Carmine's. Okay, you guys, that does it for me for this week. It's been eventful. You guys are gonna have to let me know what you think about all this jazz. Please feel free to go ahead and leave me a text comment here on YouTube or wherever you're watching. There should be a comment box. Let me know how you're feeling. You can also call into my voicemail if you'd prefer to leave it that way. The telephone number is area code 309-588-4569. You can go to my website at yrchat.com. There's a link in the description of this video if you're not already watching the video there. So let me know. Let me know where you stand on all of this drama. I love you guys. I'll be back next week. Everybody have a good one. Mwah. Happy watching. Bye.